You've got a tug on your heartstrings. You can feel a deep calling on your life. Whether you're clear on this calling or you're still in the process of discovering it, how do people who fully go all in on their calling make it look so easy? Don't blow off what I'm going to share with you in this video if you feel any ounce of hesitation, holding back, or playing small. What I'm going to share is going to change the game for your life and for your business. But I do have to make a distinction. There is a difference between pre walking with God and post walking with God. So I'm going to share with you 7 things that people do who are going all in on their calling in order to stop hesitating. Number 7 is the most important. It is truly the foundation, but I'm going to stack these on top. So the first thing is you want to get in the room. You want to get in the room with people who are living and doing the way that you desire to live and do. Back in 2014, when I went to my Internet Marketing for Newbies event, it was my first exposure of the interwebs, learning how to make money online. I was a burnt out physical therapist, waking up one day, just literally popping out of my bed and thinking to myself, this cannot be my life. There literally has to be a better way. God gave me a feeling as a little girl on how I would feel when I was doing work in this world. It was a sensation. And after working 1 year in the clinic, I was like, I don't feel like that. And so when I went to this Internet Marketing for Newbies event, my eyes opened wide. I saw people that were making money doing all kinds of things. I won't even get into it. But anything you can think of, like building a chicken coop. I know I said I wouldn't get into it, but teaching people how to build a chicken coop. They were making multiple 7 figures doing that, selling products online. And so I realized I had gotten in the room and exposed myself to people thinking so much bigger than me. Here's something that I've learned. We are a garden, and not everything inside of us is a flower. We have been programmed by society and culture to play small and think small. So if you feel this calling on your life, the first thing you got to do is get in the room, because the things that have been planted in you were not planted by you, and they weren't all planted by God. The things that are in you are the weeds. Those are the things that are actually going to kill the dream. They're going to kill the flowers. And so it's so essential that we get into the room and we start to see people that are doing things that we desire to do. And what ends up happening is when you're in this room, you start to mirror people. You mirror the way that they think, you mirror the things that they believe, and you mirror their physiology, the way that they start moving their body. Just think about the people you tend to hang around. You start using the same kind of words that they use. You might start dressing the same. You might start moving your body the same way because we have mirror neurons. We're going to look at what other people are doing and we're going to mimic it, even if we're not trying to. This is why they always say if you hang around 5 broke people, you're bound to be the 6th person. Well, the same thing works in reverse. If you hang around 6 rich people, you're about to be the 7th. Or if you hang around 5 rich people, you're about to be the 6th. So you want to get in the room because this is where the magic happens inside, where you start getting implanted new thoughts. And one of the things that I've noticed in this entrepreneurial game as we're following our calling is that when it gets hard, the exposure that we've had from the rooms that we've been in, it keeps you going because it helps give you a vision. We basically borrow other people's belief before we might even believe in ourselves. So if you feel yourself hesitating, then you want to be around people who are going for it. You want to be around people who are speaking these bigger ideas. That's number 1. Number 2 is you want to lean into discomfort. When we are feeling discomfort, that is a sensation in our body. It creates a visceral response. And nobody likes to feel pain. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to block it. We're going to want to push that discomfort away. And stepping into a calling and truly owning it and fully going all in is going to make you feel uncomfortable. It's going to create new sensations in your body, especially when we have higher level degrees and we're conditioned to think that there's only one way to live. There's only one way to make money. Stepping into your calling makes you feel things you've never felt before. It makes you think things you've never thought before. And all of that is going to create this internal resistance. And when we have internal resistance, we don't like how that feels. So the first thing we're going to do is push against it. It's like someone pushing on you, you're going to push against. Now that's the resistance. Now that's called discomfort because there's something new. And if you have a higher level degree and you're starting out something new, the first thing you're going to feel is like, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this new venture. I'm not good at this new route that God might be calling me to. And when we don't feel good at something, the first thing we do is we want to run from it because you might be in a profession where you're creme de la creme. You're at the top. And that comes so easy. So when you're kind of in this profession where things come so easy and you're making a transition into a calling that might be in entrepreneurship, you don't feel great at it. And so that kind of presses upon the ego. It makes the ego go, well, I don't want to not be good at something. The ego wants to always be good. The ego has this image and version of you. And so you end up pushing away any kind of change. You end up not allowing discomfort to come in. I always say that we titrate discomfort. Titrate, Titrate, titrate. It's like a science experiment where you got the little dropper and you go like this and you're only letting so much in at a time. This is literally what happens when you're like, all right, I know I have to feel uncomfortable, but I'm only going to let myself feel so much discomfort at a time because the sensation of discomfort is uncomfortable. And you're going to do everything to find something else to do. This is where I see people fall into the learning and they're just learning, learning, learning. They're in the massive consumption phase. And you do need to learn, but you want to be able to have learning and implementation. If you're learning without ever taking any action steps, then you're just going, 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 and you're never actually leaning into discomfort. You're just avoiding it more and more and more, making yourself think that you're actually taking action, making yourself think that you're doing something. I heard a quote once that said, don't ever mistake movement for achievement. Learning something new feels like movement, but you're not actually achieving anything if you don't put what you've learned and implement it in order to get an outcome or a result, or to at least learn what didn't go well so that you can refine it. So when you think about where you are right now on your journey, how much discomfort are you letting in? They always say everything you want is on the other side of discomfort. But we got to understand what is it that's actually holding you back from not allowing more discomfort in. A lot of those common things is not feeling good enough, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being judged, feeling like you don't belong, feeling like you're trying to maybe portray yourself a certain way online, but you don't really feel like that inside. So now you feel like an imposter. There's all these different reasons why internally that you're going to feel discomfort because essentially you're not going to allow yourself to feel those emotions. You're not going to allow yourself to feel into that sensation. But the more that you allow your body to start feeling something different, now you can step into new levels of thinking, which means you can step into new levels of believing, which means you can step into new levels of action. One of the really cool things that our body does is it's plastic. Our brain is plastic. We can literally train it to do anything. And so you want to practice areas of discomfort in other parts of your life. Cold plunging. A lot of people cold plunge for many, many reasons. But one of them is to actually show your body that it can withstand extremes. It can withstand discomfort. And the first thing you actually have to do when you're in a cold plunge, which I have done, and I'm somebody that does not like the cold, but I was challenged and so I did it. You start to realize that in order to actually sit through it, you have to relax. You have to relax in the discomfort. If not, you're pushing against the cold and then it just gets colder. So you basically are forced to relax. You have no choice because you start to realize you're making it worse for yourself by resisting it. So turn the shower super cold before you get out. Just find these different things that allow you to feel uncomfortable throughout the day so your body can learn that, hey, you're not going to die when you start to do something uncomfortable because that's what the brain thinks. The brain wants to keep you safe. And the moment that the brain is like, oh my gosh, this feels uncomfortable, it thinks it's going to die. And so it goes into this self protection mode. And even just that feeling of fear or rejection or anxiety, overwhelm, all of those things, the brain's like, nah, I'm going to push against that. I'm not going to allow you to feel that. But allowing yourself to feel that is actually how you have success because it is going to feel uncomfortable. And this is why most people quit. It's why most people never really move anywhere. They keep spinning in circles. And they spin in circles because all they're doing is resisting discomfort. And here's what's so fascinating. If we are allowing in bits of discomfort gradually over time, we actually still don't get anywhere because we never really reach momentum. If an airplane was just going along the runway slowly, it would never take off because it doesn't have enough speed. It needs speed in order to actually get off the ground. I've heard that it takes or an airplane burns 80% of its gas just at takeoff. So that means that you have to have speed, you have to have intensity with allowing the discomfort in. So if you're right now thinking, well, I do allow myself to feel uncomfortable. Well, my question is, at what intensity are you allowing yourself to feel that? Because if it's not enough intensity, then it doesn't matter how much consistency you have in your business or how much consistency you have in taking steps. The consistency doesn't matter because an airplane can consistently go across the runway and never make it off the air, never make it off the ground, into the air. So this is all about how uncomfortable we're allowing ourselves to be and having a level of intentionality, but also having a level of intensity with it. I know I harped on this one a lot, but this one is really a key. It takes a lot of people out. It takes a lot of people out because you could be in the rooms, but if you don't allow yourself to sit in discomfort and learn to create that sensation and get comfortable with it, and then it actually starts to neutralize because being in a cold plunge after you've been in there, you don't even feel cold anymore. You start to build a tolerance for it. This is why people can keep like increasing their level of discomfort because they've built a tolerance. It's literally like lifting weights. Discomfort is the resistance that you need in order to create success in your business. And if you are not comfortable lifting the weight of discomfort, you're going to keep spinning yourself in circles and circles and circles and living year after year in the exact same place, thinking that you're making progress when you're not. Okay, number 3 is study and learn about the industry that you are called to. You got to understand if you're stepping into entrepreneurship, you can't just learn your craft and the thing you're good at. You really have to be able to understand business. If you're going into finance in terms of business, then you want to, there's something that just popped outside my window, caught my attention. Anyways, squirrel. If you are stepping into finance, then you want to learn finance just as much as you are understanding the business, just as much as you're understanding people. If you're delivering a service, if you want to sell digital products, you got to learn about digital products. You can't just learn the craft and the skill that you are good at. So you have to study and learn. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. And you might even get into this consumption phase, like I talked about before, where you're just taking all this stuff in, but you got to get to the point where you're also implementing the things that you are learning. I like to say, I'm going to learn 3 things and go implement that. Learn 3 things and go implement that. And I create this checks and balances to make sure I'm not staying in consumption phase because we can learn, learn, learn. And that's really a protection mechanism because we're protecting ourselves from potentially failing if we have some of those negative thoughts and those beliefs. And so we're going to think we're doing something. Okay. The other thing with studying and learning is you want to read and write a lot. Reading allows you to get new ideas, or listening to audiobooks allows you to get new ideas, not so you can take someone else's idea, but so that you can facilitate your own level of thought. Because I guarantee you, when you listen to something or someone, you naturally have a response. And when you have a response, now that's your own frame thinking, that's your own lens. Now that's something you can write about. That's something that you now have a way to enter into the marketplace with a new perspective, but it was stimulated by something that you heard, something that you read. And then you also want to write because you want to have very clear thinking. Something that I really understand about having higher level degrees. Um, and I study this because as someone who has a doctorate degree, and if you're watching this and you have a doctorate degree, a graduate degree, just a higher level degree, we really start to think that we know how to think. And the truth of the matter is, we don't know how to think. We know how to think about ourselves. We know how to think about our craft, but we don't know how to think of ideas in a way that we can position them in the marketplace as a message. And that's all that matters in business. When you are in school and you have a job, everything is about you getting the job, you making sure you look good, that your resume is perfect to position you. But when it comes to entrepreneurship and stepping into your calling online, it's not about you. It's about you, but it's not about you. It's really about how well you are able to understand the people you're meant to serve. A calling is a service. Whether you're creating products or you're doing something, interaction, it is you putting yourself online, but your message is framed so people know you can help them. People know you can service them. This isn't about just coming online and sharing your story. It's so much deeper than that. This is about your ability to think in a framework, think in a concept so that you can position it online. Some of the top speakers in the world think and speak in frameworks. That is the way that we convey ideas so other people understand them, so other people capture them. If you listen to any of the top speakers in the world, you're going to start to see that there's a frame, there's a model that they are actually following. This is why we want to make sure that we are reading and we are writing because writing helps to make us clear. In order to write, we have to think. It's so easy to speak without thinking, but we cannot write without thinking. And so that's when you're going to see if there's any gaps in your own thought process. Because if there's a gap in your thought process and you try to bring that message into the marketplace, now the market is fuzzy because you're fuzzy. There's a gap in that. This is why I do have a challenge coming up. It's the Content Authority Blueprint Challenge, where I'm helping you actually take all of the ideas that you have and create a system around it so that your content actually speaks to the market. I'll drop a link down in the description box. Make sure you check that out so you can join us in the Content Authority Blueprint Challenge. But it's so much deeper than just you being clear. It's does my audience understand what I'm saying? Can my audience see what I'm saying? Is it clear to them? Because if it's not clear to them, they're not buying. Okay, number 4, double down on your skill set. So get better at producing results for people. Whatever problem you are solving in the marketplace, you want to consistently get better and better and better and better. That will build your confidence because now your competence is built up. And so when you start becoming more competent, then you start building more confidence. And so you want to get better at the skill set, the problem that you help people to solve, the thing you're doing in the marketplace, whatever results you get for people, whatever transformation you are facilitating for people. It is your ability to help get the result and double down on that skill set and figure out new ways to position it or figure out new ways to say it, doubling down on that. Don't just think, okay, I know what I'm doing, I'm good at it. You got to keep refining your craft. And you definitely have to have a balance between refining your craft and studying the industry and studying your market. But you definitely want to refine your craft because the more you refine your craft, the more angles you're going to start to see that you can position to create content online. Because content is not just a checklist that markets your business. Content is a legacy building tool. It is literally a tool that we can use to get our message out there, but is going to be heard and felt and still move people long after we're gone. I heard a pastor say that an inheritance is what you leave for someone. Legacy is what you leave in someone. And I think about some of the greatest speakers that are no longer with us, but we still listen to. Like I still listen to Jim Rohn and Bob Proctor. They're not here, but we listen to them because they have legacy content. It's left something in me. So, really important that you double down on your skill set. Number 5, invest in yourself. Now, investment isn't just money, investment is time. You're investing time right now in learning something. Maybe you're feeling stuck and held back and playing small, not really going after your calling, and you found my video. And because of that, you're investing time, but I'm providing you a result. I'm providing you a solution, a new way of thinking. I'm helping build your belief. And so you want to invest in yourself, not just time, but also money. And not just money, also time. So both. A person who pays attention. When we get things for free, sometimes we tend to not really respect it, honor it, or even use it. But when we pay attention because we got skin in the game. So that actually tells you and it tells your nervous system they're committed. You're not just dibbling and dabbling. You're committed to what you're doing. You're committed to the calling. When you're not willing to invest money in yourself, then you're also letting people know that they should invest in you. And I'm not saying you're saying that in words, but what I am saying is you'll be saying that in energy. If you aren't investing in yourself, your energy when you come online is going to be small. You're going to shrink. And you're going to shrink because you know deep down you haven't invested money in yourself. And so now you're wanting other people to invest in you, but now you feel kind of weird because you're like, well, I want them to pay me, but I'm not going to pay someone to help me figure some things out. It doesn't work that way. We literally are a reflection of the people that we call in. And so if you do call in any clients or you do calling any customers, those people are going to tell you things like you're too expensive, or they're going to look for somewhere cheaper, or they're going to give you all this pushback and create all this objection. This is also going to affect the kind of content that you create, because the content that you create comes from a level of confidence and conviction in yourself and your ability to provide the result, but also how much you've invested in your learning. I've invested thousands. The first investment I ever made into my business was $25,000. And that was back in 2014. $25,000. And we took out a loan in order to be able to join this year-long mastermind. And that was at the event that I went to in 2014, the Internet Marketing for Newbies event. And it literally paved the way and the foundation. And I remember thinking to myself, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter how long this takes. I'm stepping into this journey. I'm stepping into this entrepreneurship world because God gave me a calling. I didn't quite know what it was at the time. The business that I had back in 2014, what I had in 2016, 2017 is different than the business I started in 2021. Now, it looks different. However, the tools and the strategies and the belief system and the mindset was all cultivated along the way. And it all became that way because I invested in myself. What else am I going to do anyways? People always wonder like, well, just see if it works. See if what works. Is working your 9 to 5 working? Is working in this certain career path that you're doing right now, is that working? If you're feeling called, it's for a reason. God gave you the desire to want more. And because he gave you the desire to want more, that means there is more. And our job is to consistently pursue that, not because we're living in lack and we want more, but it's our nature to expand. It's our nature to grow. And what I always describe to my clients is as you're growing, what tends to happen is in your current profession, you are becoming a shark, but you're in a fishbowl because your job and your environment is still so small, but you're growing into a shark and you're still trying to fit into a fishbowl. It doesn't work. You're going to feel pressure. And that also leads to burnout, which is a whole nother conversation. But we really want to take into consideration how all of this comes into play when we are investing in ourselves. It allows you to stay in the game because the journey is challenging. There is pain along the way. There are many times where things don't work and it looks like it's not working. One of my mentors, Myron Golden, always says, it's either working for you or it's working on you, but it's always working. I don't know if I did a good impression of him, but it's always working. And we have to understand that we can't always see things visually, but it's literally like a tree. There's a seed in the ground before we see it sprout up. That means we have to grow down in our roots before we grow up in expansion and bear any fruit. So we're investing in the roots to build ourselves. And when people are quitting left and right because the journey gets hard, you won't quit because you put skin in the game. You were serious about what you were doing. You were serious about the calling. You were serious about the pursuit of your purpose and the development of yourself in that purpose. All right, number 6, stop telling your vision to small minded people. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. It is one of the worst things you can do is to share something big with someone who can only think small. And that person is going to project on you. And they're going to say, why are you doing that? Are you sure you want to do that? How much money? And they're going to question every single thing you're doing. And they're going to question it because they don't have the same vision for themselves. They can't see themselves bigger than where they are. So consciously or unconsciously, they're going to try to make you small. And if you're dealing with any kind of doubt or guilt or shame or overwhelm or any of those feelings that are not of God, if you're feeling any of that, then that means that that person now has put a lid over you. They've put a lid over you. And without knowing it, you might accept that lid because now that person is close and you're like, well, I don't want to like not fit in anymore. This person is one of my really good friends. I don't want to feel out of place. I don't want to not be included. And so now you are allowing yourself to be transformed by what someone else thinks and what someone else thinks they can't do. So now they've put that on you. We can't keep accepting this. This is not something to accept. Which leads me to number 7 in a second. But if you find that every time you tell a person or groups of people something that you are doing and you start feeling like you want to pull back, those aren't your people. Doesn't mean you can't be friends with them. Maybe, maybe not. That's something you have to assess. But it does mean that that's not where you go to share your wins. It's not where you go to share your growth. And this goes back to number 1. You got to get in the room. You got to get in the room and you got to find the people that are on the same trajectory as you. And ask Holy Spirit for levels of discernment for the people that you have in your life. Because the same people that are going to key with you in your face are also going to be the same people that are hoping that you don't succeed. Not because they're bad people, but because they're still living in a lie. They're still living in the unbelief that they can't do something. And so naturally, they're just going to project that because that's what's in their heart. Whatever's in our heart is how we behave. Our behavior stems from what is truly being held in our heart. So you want to find that room so you can establish new friendships. Establish friendships with people that are going in the same direction as you. And people that are either ahead of you, people that also might be a little bit behind you on their journey. So you're not always feeling like, man, I'm so far away from those people, but you can start to see this in a continuum. And you start developing and fostering new friendships and new connections. And I'm telling you, this can be some of your most lifelong friends when you start and embark on this journey. It's like a whole new world. You guys remember, oh my gosh, what's that movie? Narnia? What is that? The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Oh, it's like the moment they open the Chester drawer or the wardrobe, I guess. The moment they open that, where are they? A completely different place. They're in a whole new land. And it's so beautiful and it's so exciting on the other side. But you won't get to the other side if you keep telling your dreams and your visions and your calling to small-minded people who are still hesitating. We got to cut that. We got to cut that. Number 7. Number 7. I wish I had a drum roll right now. Number 7. Believe what God says about you. Not even a period. Exclamation point. Believe what God says about you. Now, This is where I tripped up in the beginning. If you know anything about my story, I won't get into too much of it, but I was raised Catholic. So I was in relationship with religion. I wasn't in a relationship with the Lord. And when I started in entrepreneurship, I was kind of sort of like still going to church a little bit, but not really. There was something I started to feel a little bit of like uh, disconnect. That's a good word. Disconnect. And so I started not really going to church, but I believed in God. But I started using words like source and higher power. I started using some very new age words. And even though I had seen a lot of really great success and very early success in my business, it came with still a lot of doubt. It came with a lot of apprehension. It still came with a lot of hesitation. So I was taking all of the action, but it was from a very scared place, from a very push place, push energy. Like I was pushing my way in. And what I can tell you about that time is it's very exhausting. It's very exhausting, even though you're seeing results, because there's this part of you that you got results a certain way, and now you feel like in order to maintain results, you got to keep doing that thing, even though it's tiring you out. But the good Lord clearly knew what he was doing because he kept tugging at my heartstrings. And back then, I wasn't using words like God. I wasn't using Jesus. I wasn't in the biblical world. I wasn't building for the kingdom. There was still a lot of dark. And I'm a very happy person, bubbly person, joyful person. But I was literally living in the lie of what society places on you. And I didn't understand what I understand now, which is why I said there's pre God and post God, like pre walking with God and post walking with God. So when I refer to the feeling that I had in my heart as a little girl, that was God, but I only know that now. I didn't know that back then. I was like, man, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something. I know that now. I have words now. I have language now, but I didn't have language back then. I just knew how I felt. And I realized that God placed a compass inside of me, a feeling inside of me, literally leading me back to Him through entrepreneurship. And if you're feeling the same way, then I'm telling you, the game changer, the foundation is believing what God said about you. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, the plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Repeat that, recite that. Look at all of the ways that God in the Bible shows us that He wants to prosper us, literally all the time. Every single word in the Bible is about how we should live. Jesus Christ came here so that we could have a model. We could understand what we need to do when we're sad, when we're happy, when we're feeling afraid, teaching us how to pray, teaching us how to activate the power inside because God gave us the power to get wealth. Deuteronomy 8:18. And so when we really start to understand our creator, we understand ourselves. When we understand our creator, we understand ourselves. So if your identity is anything but what God says you are, then it's a scary road. It's a scary road. And I'm at such a place right now where I see so much light in my life. And I only realized I was in dark because I'm in so much light. And when I say dark, what I mean by dark is things were really good in my life, but they were hard. They felt hard. It felt like I was always efforting, but I did have a barrier around my heart. I did have a resistance to things. I felt like I was kind of holding my business up by a bit of ego. And God tears all that down. God literally tears all that down. And it's a beautiful process. It can be a very painful process, but it is a beautiful process because when you realize you're building for the kingdom and there's only two kingdoms in this world, light and dark, that's it. We're either building for Satan or building for the Lord. And our mission, our purpose, our calling is to be more and more like Jesus and to model him. Because that is how we know what to do. That's how we know how to operate when we model him. And the Holy Spirit guides us in our day to day, literally every single day. Holy Spirit guides us where to go, what to do. Isaiah 30:21. I'm with my scriptures right now. Isaiah 30:21 says, whether you turn to the right or to the left, I know there is a voice behind me saying, this is the way, walk in it. That is Holy Spirit led guidance. And so it's so essential that you believe what God says about you so that you can truly have the success. Because I had levels of success back then, but it's not the same thing I'm building now. It's different. There's more ease here, there's more flow, there's more depth, there's more purpose, there's more meaning, there's more everything, there's more fullness. And I can feel everything on so much more of a visceral level. And so I really invite you into that. So, are you doing all seven? If you're not doing all seven, my question is, which one will you focus on next? I'm going to post a video right here for you to watch on how to profit from your story. It is a great video for you to watch next. I hope to see you in the upcoming Content Authority Blueprint Challenge. Share this with a business bestie, and I will see you all in another video. Bye.